Let's break it down. The broken baker's coming to town. From Denmark with love, watching courts go wild. American drama got me hooked like a child. Twists in the courtroom, objections all day. Live on the screen, come and join the fray. Step one, grab your coffee, settle in tight. Step two, laugh at the chaos left and right. Step three, Danish take on the law so crazy. Step four, hit subscribe, don't be lazy. Oh yeah! He's the broken baker, breaking down cases, real truth shaker. Witty and fun from across the sea. The broken baker set my free. Hey, hey, broken baker, Danish style so smooth. Legal madness in the groove. Yeah, join to live today. The broken baker's here to slay. High profile trials, witnesses spin. Alibis cracking, let the fun begin. Outside of you with a humorous twist. True crime fans, you don't wanna miss. Even when it's broken, we find the fun. Danish baker baking truth for everyone. The broken baker, yeah. Hit that bell, let's go
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome back to part 2 of day 4. Cross-examination on the blood spatter expert has just started. For those of you who weren't here this morning, you missed nothing.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, can we publish this to the attorneys?
All I see is a white screen. Is it on your laptop? or-
Yes.
Hold on a minute, we just have to switch it over. Okay.
thank you.
Just to the witness and the attorneys?
The witness and the attorneys, yes,
Okay.
thank you.
And this, for the record, what exhibit number is this?
Judge, if we
It's not,
can,
oh, you don't have, it's not in evidence yet? Okay.
it's not an evidence.
All right, thank you.
I can identify it, however.
Sure, okay.
Your Honor, if we could identify this as defense exhibit number 80.
80?
80.
Okay. We'll
I
identify
think
it.
that's a little out of line, but it's.
That's fine.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Groff. I'm John Carroll. I represent Mr. Banfield in this case.
Good
If there are any
afternoon.
questions that I ask you and you don't understand them, please ask for me to repeat them.
Sure.
Okay. Ma'am, can you see the first slide there at your station?
Excuse me?
Did you see something on the screen?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And what, have you seen that before?
Yes.
Okay.
This is cross-examination, and he said he would probably use as much time as the state used. So just someone call me when it's done because I'll be sleeping.
What were you, in terms of your ability to see that, was that in pictures?
This object, or
Yes.
this one image, or what's contained in the image?
This object and this image?
The object I saw in multiple images, including the body cams, videos, and I see it in this still image.
Okay. And you recognize that?
Yes.
Now, did you work with Detective Leach from the Fairfax County Police on this case?
I worked with him in the sense that I received, I believe, reports that he wrote, documentation of what type of analysis was done or submitted various items for, and had a conversation about a particular testing that he did.
Okay. And the particular testing, was that the testing that we just talked about in your cross-examination, was the, what you said was a linear drip stain on the pants of Joe Ryan?
No.
Which stain was it?
It had to do with some socks that may or may not have been bloodstained, and that was the focus of our conversation.
Okay. And so how many conversations did you have with Detective Leach during this process?
I only remember one specific meeting that he was present where we had a one-on-one conversation about items in this case.
Okay. And was that here in Fairfax that this meeting took
Yes.
place?
Yes.
And were you present for that here, or were you in a virtual situation?
And always present, physically present.
How long ago was that when you had your contact with Fairfax County PD?
When I talked to Detective Leach about this case,
Yes.
I don't remember the date, it's been some time ago.
Okay, do you remember the date that you were previously here in Fairfax?
I remember what I was doing, I'd have to look up our calendar to see what date that was.
Did it coincide with another case that you were working for the Fairfax Commonwealth Attorney's Office?
No, it's not another case.
Okay.
We were here doing some training
Okay, and training here in Fairfax?
in this area. I think it was Alexandria, maybe. I remember the physical facility, I don't remember the name of the location, but it was in this area.
Now, going back to this image, were you aware of, and I'll show you the next image, were you aware of Detective Leach asking for analysis for DNA on this juncture that's showing on the knife?
I was aware that some analysis was done. I did not talk to Detective Leach about specifically where or how the sample was collected. I think I may have looked at the results of the analysis.
Okay.
But I did not focus on this particular object.
And is it fair to say in your review of this that you looked at all of the results of the analysis that were produced in these cases, or in this case?
I don't know if I received copies of all the analysis that was done. Everything I received, I reviewed.
Okay. And in this situation, and Your Honor, I can...
Just want to mark it.
Well, what I was thinking I might do, Judge, is if we mark it A and then...
88? Okay, this can be 88, that's
and
fine.
then 80B and going forward through.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm
And
at-
I'll
okay.
identify it.
All right, so this is 80A, the one
Yes.
that's on the screen right now? Okay, thank you.
Ma'am, just to refresh your recollection, does that look like the analysis that you looked at?
Judge, I'm going to object.
Yep. Yes?
Best evidence, it's not the full document. The document's been admitted into evidence.
All right. Well, if she needs to review the full document,
Okay.
we have it available.
Ma'am, to your recollection, whose DNA was, without referring to that, whose DNA was identified on that portion of the knife?
Again, it wasn't part of my analysis. I don't recall exactly where it was.
Your Honor, I mean, this is a Commonwealth exhibit.
You got to be by microphone. What?
Sorry, Your Honor, I'm going to look at the Commonwealth exhibits because I think it's been introduced as one of the Commonwealth exhibits. Your Honor, if we could pull up Commonwealth's exhibit number 160.
I can't pull up anything.
Well, I don't know why he's talking about a DNA analysis. She's blood spatter, so I don't know why he's talking DNA with her.
Sorry,
I can't pull up anything.
I thought that was introduced into evidence.
Yeah, but we don't have their electronic files.
Yeah, I think it's on their
This is not ours, this is the court's. If you want to use it, it's all here.
Ma'am, can I, Your Honor, if I may, I have the hard copy here, I'll just have her.
Okay, that's fine. I'll just switch it over to the lamp. Oh. You're just going to use the hard copy on the lamp? Is that,
Big part?
oh, you're just going to give it to her, or are you going
If
to
I
use it
could
on the
just give
lamp?
it to her, that would be fine.
Okay, that's fine. 160, which I have is just lab sheet DNA blood.
It is lab sheet May 22, 2023.
Thank you.
Number 160.
All right, if you want to show her that, that's fine.
Ma'am, have you had an opportunity to look at that? Does that refresh your recollection, ma'am?
Well, again, I don't know if this was one of the documents that I looked at. I'd have to look at my listing of the materials that I received. I recognize it as an analysis report, but I don't know if it's something I received
Okay.
or not.
In preparation for your testimony today, did you review the things that you had reviewed for testifying today?
I did look at my report. I didn't like memorize the whole list of
Okay.
what I did receive.
So you're not certain of the specifics of the lab analysis relating to the knife in this case?
I don't recall the specifics of the knife, and as I said, I did not focus on the knife as part of my analysis as far as identifying patterns and as a result of that, whose DNA profiles might or might not be present.
And would DNA profiles, whether they're present or whether they were even tested for, would those be important in some of the determinations that you've made today?
In terms of the knife itself,
In terms of any aspect of it?
in terms of everything taken together, those bloodstain patterns that I talked about, if a DNA profile was identified, then I noted that based on the relevant analysis reports that I had.
And if there were stains that weren't examined, would those be important as to informing your conclusions?
Judge objection is to form, I don't believe it's clear, examined by whom?
If you could rephrase the question.
Okay. There's, in the scenes that you've seen on the body cam, there are numerous stains, correct?
Yes,
And many of them have been tested, many of them haven't been tested, correct?
that's correct.
And in fact, you directed testing for some of them in your relationship with Detective Leach, correct?
I don't recall directing Detective Leach which stains to sample or to have tested.
Did you identify a
Thank you, Kaliopnikites. Well, that's why I chose this trial, because it made for a funny time. Choking on a freaking chocolate tasty cake crimpet is not how I intended to go. Well, you almost lost a president to a pretzel, so you're in good company.
sample that you required Detective Leach to get tested?
Not that I recall. My analysis was based on the documentation, not personal examination of the physical objects.
Ma'am, did you have an opportunity to review what would be 80D? Do you see that picture?
I see the picture, yes.
Do you recognize that picture?
Yes,
Have you reviewed that as part of this case in your examination?
yes.
Okay. In this instance, this is the injury to, is this the injury to Joe Ryan in his left hand?
This is one injury to his left thumb.
Okay. And the contusion and the bruising, do you see that?
Yes, I see the contusions to the left thumb.
Okay. And in terms of your experience as a blood spatter analyst, blood spatter pattern analyst, Is it fair to say there's a greater likelihood of injury to the person who's stabbing than someone who's, or to the person, there's greater likelihood of injury to the person who has the knife and is stabbing versus others involved in the scene?
I'm sorry, I'm not exactly clear on what the question is.
Is there, let me see if I can rephrase it. In your experience, is there a greater likelihood of a stabber having an injury as a result of that knife?
I can't really say greater likelihood.
Okay. Have you experienced that?
Not in something measured as a greater likelihood.
Okay. Have you experienced it in some other measure?
Well, that it's not uncommon for, in a stabbing situation, especially if there's no hilt on the knife,
Okay.
that multiple impacts can cause the weapon itself to become slippery because blood is a fluid and is wet. Their hand may slide and actually get cut.
Okay. And
Mr.
in-
Carroll, I just want to make sure, this is 80B, okay? 80B is
I'm
in
sorry,
Bravo.
yes, I was
Okay.
counting
I
ahead.
just want to get the record clean.
80B.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Would you agree that this is another view of that injury?
Yes,
That would
Appears to be.
ADC, identified as ADC.
Thank you.
Ma'am, do you see this, the slide that's before you?
no, sir.
Do you see the slide that's before you now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you recognize this, this particular picture from the body cams that you looked at?
This does appear to be a still portion of one of the body cams.
Okay, and this would be identified as ADD? Ma'am, looking at ADD, do you see my client there?
Well, I recognize that the person, there is a person kneeling on the floor, and in looking at all the videos of the first officers, that person was later identified as Brendan Banfield.
Okay, and in that picture, can you see his hands?
I'm sorry, this particular image is very dark, difficult to see, but in the overall body cams, I did see his hands.
Okay, and are you saying that you don't see his hands in this picture?
I'm saying this picture is not really clear to show his hands. I see the area that I think is his hands, but the picture itself is not clear.
Okay, and do you see the blood on his hands?
I did see blood on his hands when I reviewed the body cams.
And in this picture, do you see blood on the backside of his hands?
I'm sorry, this picture is not clear enough to make a determination.
Okay, well, let's look at the blood stain down to his right. Do you see the portion that we've been talking about? And just, if you need to look at where everything is situated in order to orient yourself, do you see the corner of the bed?
I can make out the area where the corner of the bed should be.
Okay, and can you make out the area where the saturated blood stains that you were talking about is?
I can see what appears to be. Again, the picture quality is very poor.
Okay.
But from reviewing all the body cams, I do know that there was saturation areas on the carpet.
Okay, so just talking about this picture right here, this comes from when you reviewed the body cam, correct?
I reviewed all the body cam footage that was given to me for review.
And this footage is from the first body cam responder, isn't that correct?
Objection, Judge. I think it calls for speculation. She's indicated she has reviewed all of the body cam, but there has been no indication as to which body cam this came from.
If she can answer it.
The body cams of the first two officers going into the bedroom had the most information about location of persons and objects before being moved by the officers or being directed to be moved by the officers.
Okay, and in this picture, which would be 80D again,
Hoping you're having a good pain-free day. Thank you so much, Danielle. Well, I'm a little stiff, but I am getting better. I was just telephoned by my daughter while I was on break, and her and baby Baker is coming down Saturday and Sunday, so I'll be having a good weekend. But thank you so much. Hey, Nina Kennedy.
you can see the stained spot that you were talking about with the ladies and gentlemen of the jury earlier, correct?
Again, the quality of this picture is very poor, but I do know where there were saturations on the carpet based on all of my review of materials in this case.
Can you see the end of the bed?
I see what I think is the footboard of the bed.
Okay. Can you see what's on the bed?
In this picture, you just see that it's a dark object. Based on the totality of the documentation, I know what that object is.
Okay, and what object is that?
It was a handgun.
Okay. And do you know which of the handguns that it was?
Yes,
Okay, which one?
based on all of the documentation I had, this would be the gun that was Mr. Banfield's identified as his duty weapon.
The Glock 19M, would that be it?
That sounds right.
Okay. Now, just looking at what we know about this, so you know where the gun is, even though you're saying it's a dark object, and that's, you know where the corner of the bed is, correct?
I know that the firearm, when first officers arrived in the scene, it was laying on the southeast corner of the mattress.
Okay. And so you know where the blood stain is related to the southeast corner of the mattress, correct?
Blood stain was later identified on the sheet removed from the mattress.
Do you know, we're talking about the saturated blood stain that you spoke about quite often in your direct testimony, that's at the foot of the corner of the bed.
Yes, there were multiple saturation stains on the carpet.
Okay.
One was near the southeast corner of the bed on the carpet.
Okay. And were you also, did you also review the 911 tape of the call from Fairfax County, or to Fairfax County?
I did listen to 911 recording.
Okay. Do you recall my client's
no.
statements about shooting? I know.
The staging of the bodies hasn't been really mentioned at any time by anyone, and she didn't mention it in the beginning other than he was on the floor. Hi, Jacinth.
Unknown person in the room.
I don't remember the specific verbiage. I remember that there was a reference to an injured person and a shooting.
Okay. And I'm not that worried about the detail, but what I am interested in is when he identified himself as shooting Joe Ryan, the police said, "Where are the guns now?" Do you recall that?
I don't specifically recall.
Okay. Do you recall them telling whomever is on the 911 tape, make sure the guns are visible?
Again, I don't remember the exact wording of the call.
Okay. And so you don't actually remember that from the 911 about the gun?
I don't remember the specific words that were said. I do remember specifically reviewing that there was reference to an injured person in a shooting, that was the basis for officers going to the scene.
Okay. And so would it be possible if that gun that's showing on the corner of the bed was put in the blood stain saturation that you've talked about today prior to making the 911 call?
Well, I don't know prior to the 911 call. Those are things that I can't know.
Okay.
I will say that the blood stain all along that complete side of the gun, the exposed side as you're looking at it, that it did have what appeared to be transfer. And certainly if the gun had been laid in a saturation or in a blood pool, then that would be a scenario that could not be excluded as how the blood stains came to be on that side of the gun.
Okay. And if that was left in the position that's in for purposes of the first responders, would that be something that could be tested to determine what the DNA was on, that gun itself?
If the gun itself, as it's laying there, someone could swab it and submit that swab for analysis.
Do you know if that ever happened?
That I don't know.
Okay. You never received any records of an analysis of what was on the gun?
I don't recall getting analysis of any swabbing of the gun itself.
Okay. But that would have been the most direct way to determine if there was blood or blood of a certain person or some other basis upon which to draw a conclusion if that was swabbed, correct?
To determine the DNA profile, that would be, I would think a preferable method would have been to swab it there as it's laying there. However, the gun was not left in that position. So,
Okay.
so there were some other things to consider as far as what would be tested and what would not be tested.
Oh, so when you're talking about not being left in this position that's showing here, you're talking about when the first responders moved it to the other side of the bed?
It was officers that moved it, and this gun was moved twice.
Okay.
Based on the body cams, that's what I saw.
Okay. But the DNA analysis of this area, including those saturated, soaked blood stains, I think there were 2 of them. There are a number of other stains on the mattress. The only one that was tested was the one that's right underneath the gun, where on the bedding that was underneath the gun. Isn't that correct?
Okay. If I can take them one at a time. I did not see stains on the mattress. That simply wasn't included in images that I saw of the scene. The images that I saw, I could not identify blood stains on the mattress or on that sheet that was on the bed. There were more than 2 saturations on the carpet. Trying to remember what else you put in there.
Yeah, so I'll work with you on that. Let's go through it. The 2 big saturations on the carpet. You never saw any testing of those 2 big saturations, correct?
I'm sorry, I really don't recall. I have to go back to see if any of those were specifically tested. The one directly in front of the chest of drawers would really be no reason to test that, because in the context of the scene, we know the source.
Okay.
The one closest to the foot of the bed could be tested either by sampling the saturation of the carpet itself, or there was some clothing that was partially covered some saturation, but also was stained, and that could be tested for DNA. And then there's saturation over by the dog bed that's a distance away.
Okay. And would it surprise you to know that none of those saturated positions were tested?
I wouldn't be surprised at that.
But that would give you information that would be helpful in arriving at whatever conclusion you're trying to arrive at, right?
that depends on the extent of the analysis. Like I said, the one stain pattern, there's really no reason to test because we could see in the context of the scene, particularly in the body cams, the source of that, because the source was laying in that area
Okay.
when officers arrived. The other could be tested, as I say, either directly from the carpet itself or objects on the carpet that were also stained.
Now, the firearm itself, that would be something that you would probably want to be tested, correct?
I would probably have preferred that it be tested directly from that, but also consider the fact that it was moved twice by officers in the scene. So before I would look at any results on that, I'd want to know more about the officers moving it to be sure that they didn't disrupt it. That's certainly a consideration, and look at the pattern,
Okay.
if not the DNA.
And just so you're clear, you're talking about it being moved twice after what we're seeing on this picture, which is at the corner of the bed.
Yes, it was moved twice after officers initially entered the bedroom.
And is it possible that the gun in the position that you can see my client, even though it's dark, that gun was to his right-hand side, laying in that pool of blood that had saturated that carpet prior to it being put up on the bed?
I don't know where the gun was prior to it being put on the bed. It is generally to his right, as we're looking
Okay.
at where I know he was positioned in the room.
Okay. And you know that he had blood on his hands, correct?
He did have blood on his
Okay.
hands.
And in fact, I know you're not happy with the quality of this picture, but in other pictures that you've seen his hands with blood on the front side and blood on the back side, correct?
Yes, his hands, both hands were blood covered.
Okay. And that would be consistent with someone who's rendering aid before first responders come, isn't that right?
It's consistent with him having blood on his hands.
Okay.
He did, looking at the first officer entering the room, he did have his hands on her neck.
Okay. And that was something that he did until the officer said, "We're going to take over now," correct?
Well, when the first officer arrived, he was there with his hands on her neck, and then an officer directed him to move away, and then the officer took over trying to render aid.
Okay. So let's talk about cast off. Is that what you call it?
Cast off is a bloodstained term.
Okay. And you spoke about cast off and how it could be a linear pattern, or what you saw was a linear pattern. And so cast off is coming off of if you could just remind me again, what was your definition of cast off?
Well, the mechanism of cast off is when some object that has wet blood on it is in motion.
Okay.
And so as it moves, blood comes off in a column, in a ligament of blood will come off, break into individual droplets as it travels through air.
Okay.
And because it comes off of basically one point or one area, then when it lands on a surface, those individual droplets, as they form on the surface, will make a linear or curvilinear pattern.
Okay. And so if you have a surface that has a lot of blood, say hands, and you do this, can cast off occur?
Cast off can be any object that has wet blood on it. A finger,
Okay.
if it's a hand, then usually we'll see like more than one linear distribution
Okay.
for, say, blood coming off, depending which fingers they are, how many. Or it can be some other object that has blood on it that's in motion, and
Sure.
then blood comes off of that object.
And just for the court reporter, I'm just going to describe what you just did and what I did, and if I'm incorrect, please correct me. When I talked about cast off, I talked about moving my hands in a snapping fashion away from my body, or it could be downward. And when you were describing that, you were saying it could be the hand, any finger, or all fingers going off of that object, correct?
Yes, any object that has wet blood on it and the object is in motion so that blood comes off of the object could produce cast off.
Okay, thank you. Now, and I guess with cast-off, what I think you've identified as droplets in a linear type pattern is the words you were saying to direct examination?
That individual stains in the pattern oriented to each other will be in a linear or curvilinear pattern.
This is a cross-examination, and it's, I don't know where we're going.
Okay. And a linear pattern, I'm just assuming what, I guess, you're talking about straight or likely straight.
Well, I say it could be linear or curvilinear, so a part of the pattern could be very straight. You could have a part where the whole line curves a bit, so it's curvilinear, but you can still, looking at it, see how they're related to each other.
Okay. And unless you actually see whatever it is that's holding that blood, you can't be certain of that, correct?
You cannot generally look at a cast-off pattern by itself to determine what the object was, other than looking at the individual stains. This came off of it's a low volume or very small surface area versus something that has a large surface area.
Okay. Now, when you're talking about the surface, and the surfaces that you're talking about in this case, is you have the wall, correct?
I'm sorry, the surface area I was just referring to was the surface bearing the blood.
I understand, and I'm just moving on to surfaces that could create what you ultimately interpret. Like the wall, for example, that would be a clean surface if blood hit that, right?
Judge, objection to the mischaracterization of the answer. Her answer was about what type of object could create cast-off.
Right, and he's moving on now.
Yeah, I'm moving
This is
on.
a new.
Understood, but to then use the word create, what she's talking about, I think.
Overruled.
Okay.
So just so I'm clear, I don't want to confuse, we're talking about surfaces. So like a surface like this, or a surface like this, or a surface of skin, okay? So that would be like a tabletop, clothing, fabric, and skin.
So,
So I haven't asked the question yet.
okay,
Depending on what surface you're talking about, would it be easier to identify whether it's a linear pattern or even whether it's a drop pattern, excuse me if I'm not using the right term, when you're talking about like a wall or a flat surface like this versus clothing and say denim, like what we have in this case, or a forearm, what we have in this case? There'd be different.
Judge, objection to the compound question.
Overruled, he hasn't asked the question yet.
I haven't asked the question yet, yeah. Would there be different things that you would consider based upon the surface that you're analyzing in coming at your conclusions?
but in looking at bloodstains, all of them, you should consider the target surface, that is, the surface receiving the blood, and how it might alter a bloodstain. And again, it goes back to things like the volume of blood in the cast-off. Even something that might be absorbent, like denim, if it's a very small volume, then it may not be enough blood to really be disrupted when it strikes that surface. It really depends on several factors.
Okay.
I think there was another portion to your question, but I forgot it now.
Well, I think the
because it's
actual question
compound
was
question.
in making your conclusions as to some of the things that you've said today, whether it's a circular stain, whether it's a elliptical stain, I think you talk about, or if it's a transfer stain. Would the surface have an effect on each of those different possible patterns? Or
Yes.
how you identify them?
Target surface is an important consideration with any bloodstain pattern. How will this particular surface affect the blood as it's transferring from a fluid to a drying stain on the surface? So surface is important. In terms of linear, we're looking for not just on a flat surface, but linear distributions can be identified on contoured surfaces, or a solid surface versus an absorbent. In the context of the scene, you may or may not be able to make that determination.
Now, you referenced a DLI report in your direct testimony. it said it was a private lab that the Commonwealth hired to do an examination. Do you remember that one?
Yes, I remember some of the reports were DLI.
Okay, well, there was only one, and the one was relating to the DNA that was being sought inside Joe's zipper in his button of his pants. Do you remember that?
I don't recall it being inside the zipper. It was identified to me that some sample in the area of the button or in that area was in fact sampled, and that they did find DNA profiles.
Okay, and did you read that report?
I think I did.
Okay, isn't it true that the request for the analysis was actually not blood stains? The request for the analysis was around the blood stains for contact or touch DNA. You remember that?
I don't recall anything in it that said specifically how it was sampled.
Okay, so, but what my question is you spoke about transfer stains to the Commonwealth when they asked the question. You spoke about inside the zipper where the button connects, all those sorts of things, and you spoke about blood transfer stains, didn't you?
I said on the backside of the buttonhole that I could see in the image, transfer stains.
Okay.
I did not say what DNA was present in those transfer stains, just that there was a report in that area, and I think it was the button side as opposed to the buttonhole side.
But my question is, did you realize that the request for DNA was not for any blood stains? It was for touch DNA around that area that was described.
Judge, objection, facts not in evidence.
Did you realize that?
As I said, I wasn't a party to sampling. I don't know exactly how the sampling was done.
Okay. Well, I guess my question then is, how did it just automatically talk about transfers in that area when that wasn't part of any sort of scientific testing done by the Commonwealth of Virginia or their hired DNA person?
Judge, I'm sorry, I have to object. He is mischaracterizing what is in the certificate of laboratory
Legal
analysis.
objection, Ms. Ames.
Facts not in evidence.
Overruled.
I testified that I saw stains, particularly on the backside of the buttonhole,
Okay.
and looking at those stains, identified that as transfer stains.
And despite the fact that the DNA lab didn't deal with stains at all, was that something that you dealt with the Commonwealth in preparation? Is that why you talked about stains?
I identified the stains because I looked at the picture and I saw the stains and I said what I saw. That
Okay.
is a separate issue from any testing that may have been done for DNA in that area.
Now, we looked at the hip stain that you identified previously, and you were testifying, it was on his, Joe Ryan's hip. You testified that there were like fingers that were going down because you could conclude that the flow was going down toward the ground where the picture was, correct?
No, I said there was a blood stain on his left hip, and there was a satellite, what appeared to be satellite with a little bit of flow from that, and that direction of those flows was towards the floor, or in terms of the body relative to his body was front to back. I did not say that that was a contact, and certainly did not say it was from fingers.
Now, did you review any evidence that informed you as to what Joe Ryan's movement was before blood was on him?
There's no way looking objectively at the evidence for me to determine what he was doing before there was any bloodshed.
Okay. If the evidence was that after he was shot, he started getting up again, so we would have blood, and he was starting to get up from his position on the floor, would that be something that you would want to consider in making some sort of a conclusion for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Any statement about what he may or may not have done would not have any bearing on looking at the bloodstains and looking at what I could determine, any actions I could determine based on those bloodstain patterns.
So when you're receiving this case, you're not talking about what the homicide detectives in this case would have already found at the time that you started working with them.
I don't know what the homicide investigators themselves found or thought they had found. I was presented the documentation, and I analyzed that documentation.
Okay.
And didn't have, I don't recall ever having a discussion with any of the homicide investigators about what they thought they had found.
Okay. Sorry, bear with me. It says here that you were provided the chief medical examiner's reports, correct?
Yes,
You were provided a DNA map from Detective Terry Leach, correct?
yes.
You were provided a blood location map from Terry Leach, correct?
A blood location map, I don't recall that.
Okay, well, if it was in your report that you wrote and it says that you received that, would you feel like that was reliable?
It's his opinion. It doesn't have a bearing on what I do. I look at the documentation separately from any of opinions that he may have formed.
Okay. And so it looks as though you were provided 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You were provided 10 certificates of analysis from the Department of Forensic Science, including the DLI case of June 1st, 2023. I'm sorry. You were provided 15 certificates of analysis, including DLI, who was a private lab, and Bodie, who was a private lab. You received those, correct?
Because I would have to refer to my report, but I listed everything I received.
Okay.
That doesn't mean everything I listed had a bearing on my analysis, simply that I had received it.
Okay, and I'm actually reading from that portion of your report, so I'm not trying to trick you and do anything like that. It says you have images of Juliana Peres Magalhães, 31 images.
Okay?
You have images of Brendan Banfield, 180 images. Does that sound right?
There were a number of images. I don't recall the
Okay.
exact number. I'd have to refer to my report.
I'll go through them quickly because I know you can't just in the moment. 137 images of Christine Banfield, 177 images of Joe Ryan. You have 1,326 scene images. You have evidence examination images, 1951. Evidence images, 308. X-rays of Christine Banfield and Joe Ryan, correct? You
Yeah, if you're reading the list, then yes, that would be correct.
Okay. You have 40 Axon body cams from the police department, 37 fleet cams, Axon interview cams. Now, that's what I'm asking about. The Axon interview cams, those would be interviews relating to this investigation and the evidence that was being compiled as they went on, right?
There were some interview cams of interviews that, when they were done by some detective to some interviewee, and yes, I looked at those.
Okay, and those interview cams, if they contain the factual predicate that I said to you sometime earlier, that Joe Ryan had gotten up from his position on the floor before he was shot by Juliana Peres Magalhães, would that change your position with regard to what you've described on the hip, if he was in an upright position versus laying down as he was in the picture?
No, the blood stain is what it is. I simply described what it is and what that tells me about this small portion of the scene. Any statements that anyone makes, I do not take as being factual.
Okay,
That's
And so-
subjective as opposed to objective evidence.
thank you. And so going along with what you said, the pictures of Joe Ryan laying on the bed and the dog bed where the saturation stain was, do you recall it?
There was a saturation on the dog bed, especially to his left and onto the carpet.
Okay, and so you ended up drawing flow patterns that were going down his neck, correct?
I
you remember?
looked at those and I showed where those were to focus the attention on them.
Okay, and that was for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, right?
Yes?
Okay, and so let's just go through some of those flow patterns. So when the flow patterns are coming straight down off of his chin, down his neck, that would suggest to you that he was upright?
Not necessarily. He could be laying on his back and have flow,
Okay.
depending on the position of his head, if it's to the right, to the left, or straight up.
And we're talking about a head wound to the right-hand side, right?
Yes,
Okay, and we're talking about flow patterns that would go down, and then there were some that went down and down the jawline, correct?
there was
You
some,
remember?
there were some that were kind of downward from the left side, then there were some from the left traveling over towards the right, and there were some from the right that went what looked to be pretty much straight up and down if you took the body and oriented in the anatomic position.
Okay, and so those flow patterns that you drew for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury were to show different possibilities or different, different positions, I guess, that blood would have been coming down his face?
Was simply showing what's there. This is what the flows were, and the fact that they're in different directions indicated that there was movement.
Okay, so anything on the right-hand side, would the shot through his temple and the blood and everything that came from that, would that cover what happens on the right-hand side?
If his head was upright at the time, then blood could flow from the wound down, pretty much straight down. That's one possibility.
And I know you reviewed the medical examiner's report. Did you see the portion where she opined that there was aspiration of blood? There'd been blood going down into his throat?
I would expect that there would be, and looking at the blood stains on his face, there are some stains, especially just around the lips, that look like they could be aspirated, and, I'm sorry, expirated.
Expirated, yes.
That means that any time that there's fluid, blood, and air is forced through that, such as blood in the throat, and he's trying to exhale, then that produces little bubbles, if you will, coming up, and then they fall back. If he's on his back, they'd fall back in the same position, and you see this little kind of sort of pockmarked looks in the blood, and that's one way of looking at expirated blood.
But that could be another another source of blood for what you drew down his neck, correct?
Well,
Is it possible?
I wouldn't expect for expirated blood, as in just exhaling through blood, to have enough volume that you would have flow from that.
So you're saying that that's not possible?
I said I would not expect there to be enough volume in an expirated
Okay.
blood stain that you would actually have
Okay,
in a situation where if you're talking about someone who's basically not active at that point.
okay, well, and okay. So are you saying it's not possible that any of those lines that went down his neck
No, it's
would not
it's
have
the
been
court
from
reporter who's
aspiration
clickety
blood?
clacketing.
Are you saying it's not
I was reading an email, so that's what I did.
possible?
I would say that I would not expect expirated blood to have the flow, to present that kind of flow, especially where we look at where it's coming from the side. And I really wouldn't expect that much volume if he's laying on his back and expirating through the blood, that you have enough volume to flow down his chin.
And if he was not laying on his back, would that change your expectation is the way you want to answer it?
If he's, say, upright, then I would expect expirated blood to be going away from his face, as opposed to coming back to his face.
Okay.
So really would not expect that.
So when I ask the question, is it possible, you answer, I wouldn't expect to see it. But can
I
you answer my
don't know.
question? Is it possible that expirated blood came out of his mouth down on any of those, depending on how the head was facing?
I think if blood is coming from his mouth, in a situation where you could have expirated blood, then there could be a volume of blood in the mouth, and that volume of blood could overflow and produce flows, say, down his chin.
Okay, so it's possible.
It's possible from
Okay,
blood
that's
to
what I
come from
wanted
the
to get
mouth.
to.
It's
Thank
not
you.
expirated, but it is possible for it to come from the mouth.
Your Honor, I'm going to X out of this.
All right.
Could you X out of your questions, because I don't think anyone knows what you're talking about.
Are you able to see a picture on your screen?
It's just your screensaver.
Okay, sorry. Let me see if I can change that. Ma'am, can you see those two pictures side by side?
Yes,
Okay, do you recognize those pictures?
yes,
Okay. In the picture on the right, we've taken a look at, in a different form, the Commonwealth's version.
Someone got a message.
And in those droplets, you've described them as droplets of blood in a linear-like pattern.
in a linear
Really quick thing.
distribution.
Linear distribution, thank you. And then, do you recognize the other picture?
Yes,
And that's also a portion of a picture that you've already looked at.
yes,
Now, the one, I guess, droplet in the left picture, you've described as airborne, correct?
yes,
But the droplets that you have on the right side, and Your Honor, I would identify this as Defense Exhibit 83.
83, you're not going alphabet anymore?
This is a different,
Okay, 83, okay.
I think, because we were at 82.
No, we were at 80, A, B, C, D, and E.
Oh,
is
I'm
where
sorry,
it's
then
done.
this would be 81.
This is 81, okay, no 80.
Ma'am, the picture on the right side, you say that these are droplets in a linear, and you just said it,
distribution.
distribution, thank you. But the droplet that in the left one is airborne distribution, correct?
Well, I'm sorry, the one on the left is not a distribution, it is a stain.
Okay, so it's an airborne stain.
All of
Correct.
those you're talking about are airborne, whether they're droplets on the, as we look at on the picture on the right, or the picture on the left, airborne in that the droplet traveled through air, even if that travel is downward.
So they're all airborne droplets.
Those are, yes.
Okay, and so there's no distinction between the droplet portions on either picture in your mind?
Well, in terms of defining whether or not they're all airborne. That is, the droplets travel through air, even if that travel was straight down.
Now, the other part of the picture on the right was, I think you had testified, actually, strike that. I'll just leave that as that. Your court's indulgence for one moment.
Well, it is droplets, but I'm just. Oh. Can we just get to the point of something? Do I have a question for class? Yes. Why was Stonewall Jackson called Stonewall Jackson? La da 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 dee, da da da. He was stoned on the wall. I don't think that's true. He was most likely drunk. They drank a lot back then. Because he didn't take any crap. It was his nickname. That's the story. Well, Zach, your nickname is slow in French, but that has a reason. Because of his stare. That was where he bought drugs. I thought you brought drugs outside of a courthouse. Doesn't have to make sense, just like East End pussy, not East Side pussy. He stood like a stone wall at the Battle of Bull Run. Was he the one who got pew-pewed in the face when he said, don't hide, there's no chance they could hit us on this distance, and then he got pew-pewed in the face? I thought he was just a stubborn ace who didn't back down. Well,
Your Honor, you can take
kind of
that
need
picture.
that in a pitched
No
battle.
further questions.
All right, redirect.
He was accidentally shot by his own men. Oh. Whoopsie. Well, why did they call Andrew Jackson Old Hickory?
George Penn?
If he wants to say that the kinky man Humpty humped and stabulated, I think he should get the question out. My dirty mind thinks this must be the point. We've been going for an hour, and I have no idea what he... Again, all of this and the nanny were the two main witnesses that they were going to prove this was a lie. Can someone tell me what he got out of this lady? She looked at some cameras. She talked to a detective at some point, but didn't listen to him about the case. Droplets. There's a pew-pew, but she didn't do DNA test. I don't... Did we get anything from this witness? Hey, slidey boy. I think he's using her to confuse the jury so they don't understand anything and can justify reasonable doubt.
Can display what was.
I don't think they're
previously
going to go
admitted
for
as
reasonable doubt. I
Commonwealth's
think they're going to go for
222,
that it wasn't premeditated.
I believe, under seal.
222 is not.
Yeah, but I don't think he
Judge,
found any
it
holes.
probably, okay, that's fine.
It was in or not under seal, 222.
That's fine. Ms. Daligraph, hi. So let's kind of go in reverse here. Where he left off was with what you see on your screen. Let me make it big so we're looking at just that. Mr. Carroll was drawing your attention to this droplet here. Is that correct?
Yes,
and was comparing it to then the droplets that we see on Mr. Ryan's arm. Is that correct?
yes.
Okay, and I think perhaps there was just a little bit of confusion talking about blood in flight, blood in the air. When we looked at 222, the picture and the portion of the picture that you were drawing our attention to, referencing flow, gravity, and the position of the body, is this lower.
Funny, I follow a person over on the Twit thread, and they say defense is doing a better job with asking clear questions with regard of the cast-off and blood spatter. There's no confusion in the expert's answer, and her explanations of cast-off is not looking good for the state, in my opinion. State better clean this up. What? I didn't get that. Yeah, they talked about cast-off and could a hand have done this and could have done. But to me, it didn't paint a picture of this guy didn't stabulate his wife.
Stain on his hip, is that correct?
It's the one that
No,
shows
that'll
any
be less
type of a
included.
flow associated with it is the one that's on the lateral side or the side of the outside side of his left hip. And it's, that particular stain clearly is larger than the stains that we were just talking about airborne could be falling,
Okay.
from above, so.
Do you believe that the stain that we see to the left on Mr. Ryan's hip is part of the pattern that leads us then to the droplet of blood that we see on the right?
I don't see that as forming a pattern.
Okay. Do you believe that they happened at the same time?
No, he was shot in the face first.
Well, a pattern, if I could define my
Please.
term, a pattern is a group of stains that are related to each other that happen from a single mechanism, a single incident. These are different mechanisms to produce this, and therefore it's not the same. Whether or not they're simultaneous in time is a different issue.
Okay. So then let's talk about the mechanism. Were these droplets produced by the same mechanism?
But depends on which droplets that you're talking
Sorry,
about.
let me be clear. The droplets that we see to the right of our screen on his abdomen, were they produced by the same mechanism as the area of blood, the stain that we see on his hip with the flow lines coming from it down towards the floor?
They don't appear to be the same mechanism.
Okay, thank you. So back at the beginning, Mr. Carroll asked you about your report, and we started with the knife.
Oh,
Let me
good
ask you, do you recall when did you produce your report to Fairfax County Police?
I don't remember the date of the report. It's been some time ago.
Do you have a copy of your report with you?
No, I do not.
Okay, do you have any documents with you that would refresh your recollection?
No, I do not.
Did you leave it back here?
I do have a digital copy back there.
If you refreshed your recollection with the digital copy, would that enable you to answer the question about when the report was produced?
Yes?
Your Honor, if I may retrieve her digital copy? Thank you. If I may approach.
To show that the cast-off showed something else.
All right, when did you produce your report for the Fairfax County Police Department?
Report date August 21, 2024.
All right, thank you. And you did not examine
I like that.
the knife. You said it was not part of your analysis, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, why not?
Because in the body cam video, there were multiple places that showed where the knife was altered, if you will, by officers in the scene. That is, officers coming in, walking in the area where the knife was. You see the knife in one orientation, then another orientation. it gets flipped over, it gets pressed down. So based on that, anything that's on the knife could have been transferred from the floor to the knife. There's also bedding, fabric that's on the floor, part of which has saturations.
Hellfish Haven, I know you were military police, but still, that's not how you test if they have anything hidden in the prison wallet.
To it, so that could have transferred from that to the knife. So there were so many alterations that could be seen in the body cam that would confuse anything that we get from the knife. So we don't know if, say, the bloodstains on the knife were there before officers arrived, or if it happened as a consequence of the knife being moved as the officers are coming in and with their footwear, hitting it, pushing it, stepping on it, and so forth.
All right. At the same time, Mr. Carroll asked you about swabbing the gun, and you indicated that you did not observe any samples taken from the gun. Is that correct?
That's correct. I was not a party to the sampling itself.
All right. But you did receive DNA results from testing performed on the sheet underneath where the gun was resting when police entered the room. Is that correct?
If I may refer.
Yes, it's fine.
Well, sorry, it doesn't list it as far as, the items are not listed with the name of the report, and I don't think I included in my report anything about that particular stain. I didn't see the stain. I didn't see it in the body cam and the still images in the scene, and I don't recall getting pictures of the sheet itself where someone else looked
Okay.
at that. So that wouldn't be, I'm not going to analyze something I didn't actually
Sure.
look at.
Sure, understood. But you did receive the certificate of laboratory analysis indicating that that sheet was tested.
I remember being aware that there was testing based on a pattern that someone else saw in the evidence examination outside the scene.
Okay, and that certificate of analysis was reflective of the results of testing the sheet from the gun's first position on body-worn camera. Is that correct?
Well, again, I only know that from things I've heard said. I didn't see the pattern on the sheet,
Sure.
so I didn't make an analysis of the pattern because I didn't have it to look at. If someone else did that, and which I was told that they did, and that they had submitted something for analysis, okay.
All right. Mr. Carroll asked you, though, about would you have preferred to have the gun tested? You indicated sure, all things being equal. But is there any reason why a test result
Janelle,
on the gun
that's just hateful.
would have been unreliable?
Well, again, I can't evaluate something I didn't look at. So one possibility is that looking at the condition of the gun as it's laying on the sheet, it is covered on the one side. If then it's had the same stain pattern on the opposite side, then it certainly could have transferred blood from the side of the gun to the sheet, and then it would be reliable to say it come from that. But not having looked at that pattern myself, I really can't say. There could be other transfers, assuming it was a transfer, and I don't know because I didn't see that pattern.
Sure. I guess what I'm asking is, you testified that you observed the gun being moved from that location. Is that correct?
I observed it being moved twice by officers in the scene.
So if testing had occurred after those movements, is there any reason to think it might not have been reliable?
I have nothing to base an opinion on.
Okay. All right. So you also were asked if it was possible that the blood on the gun had come from the stain on the floor. And you answered that yes, that was a possibility, correct?
looking at the side of the gun as it's laying on the mattress, it's consistent with a transfer front to back on the gun, fully that side of the gun. And one possibility for that is that it was in fact on a saturation stain, or it possibly could have been a blood pool or some other transfer, because it appears to be a transfer pattern on the full side of the gun.
Is it possible that that transfer pattern was created by a bloody hand?
I didn't see anything that in the pattern that would tell me it was a bloody hand, unless it's a hand in motion, and it really I didn't see striations that I could identify motion, so I don't know if bloody hand.
The jury is made up of 7 women and 9 men. That's the jury.
And just bloody hand contacting the gun would be right or not. If it's a transfer just from holding a gun in normal position, I wouldn't expect it to have all along the full length front to back. As long as you're holding it in the normal position, I would expect a bloody hand to transfer blood around the grips and possibly a portion of the slide, especially directly above, or I'm sorry, below the trigger, or just above the trigger guard. That's normally what we see in bloody hands handling a gun. In this case, it looks like a transfer full front to back length. That looks a little bit more like a broader surface, like on a saturation stain or in a blood pool. But other than that, I don't have enough information to make any further determination.
Okay, thank you. If we go back for a moment, Mr. Carroll asked you about the injury on Mr. Ryan's thumb and whether or not it was consistent with injuries sustained by someone who's using a knife. You explained what did the injuries look like from slippage on a knife?
Typically, if you're looking at a knife slipping, a person wielding a knife, especially repeated blows, without a hilt on the knife, then their hand may slip down, usually down the blade, and they could get a cutting injury themselves. That's not an uncommon thing in multiple stabbing situation.
In your review of Mr. Ryan's autopsy, did you see any such wounds?
No.
All right. Mr. Carroll asked you about testing the blood saturation stains on the carpet in front of the dresser and the stain closest to the foot of the bed. You indicated that there was no reason to test the stain in front of the drawers because we know the source. Can you elaborate? Who was the source?
Well, I would say the source would be Christine Banfield, because when officers come in, where you see that saturation in front of the chest of drawers is where her upper body was. And we could see that Mr. Banfield had his hands on her neck when the officers first came. They immediately have him move and take over, trying to assist, and therefore knowing from the autopsy what type of wound that is and everything, then that it would be predictable that a saturation would be in that area. So when you see that, finding any other DNA profile in there would be difficult to explain in terms of the scene. Traces of someone else might be there, but the blood itself, we can see the source.
Thank you. Mr. Carroll asked you, after demonstrating with his hands a particular movement, whether or not cast off, like that found on the walls, like that found on Mr. Banfield's pants, could have been created by the handshaking motion that he demonstrated. You indicated what? Was that a possibility?
Okay, one, I did not identify a cast off on the wall. There were some elliptical stains, just separate from anything else, so I can't really categorize that other than there's some elliptical stains. Cast off can be from any blood-bearing surface that's in motion, such that blood comes off of it, where there is a single point, a point of a finger, the point of a knife, any other object that has wet blood on it that's in motion, that blood comes off. If it's flicking of the hands, and if they have bloody fingers, then I would expect to see probably multiple lines that would show that it came off of something of a continuous space, so lines from each one that is more than one point. But it's any object in motion, so even identifying cast off doesn't tell you what created the cast off. Sometimes in a scene context, it could be narrowed down to one object, but many times you have to say, okay, It could be this or it could be that. There could be multiple items.
Judge, if we can pull down the photo for just a moment. And if we can look at Commonwealth's previously
Can we
admitted
just move on?
185.
And congratulations to Aidan Carney. His documentary
And if
has
I can
just
have
been
that displayed,
announced today
please.
I don't have a 185.
in
I'm sorry?
I don't have a 185.
Okay.
deadline.com.
Aye.
If I can have the court's indulgence for just a moment.
All right.
So all the people who said there will never be another than Krusty Panties deadline documentary. Compelling pictures set docuseries and feature on Turtle Boy blogger tied to Karen Reed murder case. So if anyone needs something to get a brain fixer-upper, this is the article about Turtle Boy's upcoming documentary.
186.
I have a 186, yes.
All right, thank you. Ms. Telegraph, is this cast-off pattern consistent with someone's hands shaking away from their body?
Well, it's consistent with, well, for one, it's not just one pattern. There are multiple lines there, and some object, blood-bearing object, in motion so that blood comes off.
All
That's,
right. Could that object have been a knife?
I can't exclude a knife if there's a blood-bearing surface of the knife and the knife is in motion. That's one possibility.
What?
Mr. Carroll asked you if there had been evidence that after Mr. Ryan was shot, he had started to get up. Would that have had bearing on your analysis? And do you recall your answer?
Yes, I said I only look at the objective evidence. So if I had seen that evidence, it would be described in my report. So it's not based on any statement that anybody made.
All right, and so that objective evidence was not provided to you, is that correct?
Well, the bloodstains are what they are. And if I don't see a bloodstain that specifically shows me that he was upright, then I can't say that he was upright.
Based on your review of all of the evidence, could Mr. Ryan have gotten up after he was shot?
Objection, Your Honor. I mean, this is
If you want to
going to,
approach,
Yeah, it's going way too far. It's way beyond scope. Also put the article in the Karen Reed. Should I put it or did you put it? I don't do anything. But I think Intercourse is a city in it's a city in America somewhere. Maybe it's more than one city. It's in Pennsylvania. Intercourse is in Pennsylvania. It's a
Let me ask the
southeastern
question
part
again,
of
just so you recall.
Pennsylvania.
Could Mr. Ryan have gotten up after he was shot?
Which time?
Either.
It's entirely possible that he would be mobile after the first shot because that shot went behind his eyes and did not incapacitating. That is, it did not approach the brainstem, it did not take out the midbrain, it did not destroy the cerebellum, it did not sever the spinal cord, it did not shock the spinal cord. It's simply behind the eyes. So
it just went through.
there is certainly an open possibility that
I
he
thought he
could
was-
move
it went
after
behind
that
the
shot.
back.
How about the second shot?
Well, after the shot to the chest, the evidence indicates that they recovered a bullet from the spine and that the spinal cord had a concussion at that point, and that wound path included perforations to the heart, to the pericardium, and so forth. But especially that it would have hit the spine, that he would not be able to get up from that.
So could Mr. Ryan, after receiving the shot to his chest, And Judge, I'd like to share Commonwealth's 241, previously admitted, under seal. Could he have put his hands in that position?
This is a,
So
not,
fictional
it's not exactly a yes or no question,
All right.
because could a person fall back with their hands on their chest? That's a possibility. Could they do that and have all the other blood stains where they are? That doesn't work together.
That does not work together?
Well, he has to some way have all this blood on his face and be in a different position so that you get blood on the left side of his face, not just the right side. And now he's laying here. So the answer is I don't see how with both of those together, I mean, there's a sequencing issue then, especially if we determine that the headshot was in fact the first and then the chest shot. So
Can you explain, I'm sorry, you said there's a sequencing issue. What is that sequencing issue?
Your Honor, I'm going to object.
All right, I'll sustain the objection
All
at
right.
this point.
To understand your testimony, if he had fallen like that, his hands could be in that position. Is that correct?
his hands by themselves could possibly, I can't say that I've ever seen one fall quite like this, but could possibly, if he already had his hands kind of in front of him, it could fall back and they just fall into that position.
But knowing his injuries following the second gunshot wound, could he have intentionally placed his hands in that position?
Once again, Judge, I'm going to object.
I'll sustain the objection.
All right, that's fine. I think we've gotten there. Thank you. No further questions.
All right, is this witness subject to recall?
Judge, just for the moment.
All right, so since you're subject to recall, you cannot discuss your testimony with anybody, and you're still subject to the rule on witnesses, okay? All right, you can have a seat outside. Let's go ahead and take our
Okay.
afternoon break for 15 minutes. We'll come back at 3:30. Again, do not discuss the case with anybody and don't do any outside.
The town named G-Spot does not exist. No. Just like the orgasm, it's a figment of imagination that ladies read about in those books with Fabio on the cover. Are you going to yell at them and say, why the hell have we wasted so much time on nothing?
All right. And you have one more witness, is
I do.
that correct? Do you know how long that witness is going to be approximately?
Not very long at all, Judge. I would imagine less than a half hour,
Half hour,
probably
then
10
cross
minutes
it.
of direct.
Okay,
and
so
then
we'll probably
20 of
finish the
cross.
day with, all right, okay, let's go ahead and we'll take a recess until 3:30.
All rise.
Good aliens have done it. Moved his arms. I think that's probably the closest to,
Yeah.
That's, anyone been to Cognito? I hear you have to wear a disguise. No, because Cognito is that you're recognized. Incognito is you are in disguise. Dildo is a town in Newfoundland. It's also a product that I'm looking to branch out with. Why do I say that? But let's. We have nothing else. Dory, yeah, she was still going. I'm sorry. Let's see what all the huss and all the fuss is about. Compelling Pictures, the production and financing outfit behind TriStar's Whitney Houston biopic I Wanna Dance with Somebody, has secured the exclusive rights to tell the twisty, true story of Aiden Turtleboy Carney, a key figure in the explosive murder mystery that found Karen Reed twice on trial for the death of her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe. Accused and eventually acquitted of killing John O'Keefe by hitting him with her car in Canton, Massachusetts in January 2022, Reed was recently depicted in a Lifetime film and an HBO Max docuseries But up until now, Carney has never given his side of the story. From the perspective of a dogged online journalist who became consumed with championing the innocence of a woman he felt had been railroaded by nefarious players within the local Massachusetts law enforcement community. Carney is a former teacher and boys varsity track coach based in Massachusetts who began blogging as a hobby before seeing his work turn into something much more high profile. Widely known by the name Turtle Boy, he rose to prominence through his confrontational, anti-establishment style of online journalism as the founder and primary voice behind the Turtle Boy sports blog. At first focused just on sports and local culture, the blog later became heavily focused on politics, crime, media criticism, and what he has characterized as government and institutional corruption. Carney got involved with Reed's case after writing about multiple instances of alleged misconduct by the MSP. When the high-profile local criminal case of Commonwealth v. Karen Reed came to his attention, he came to believe Reed was framed for murder, organizing protests on her behalf. Reed's first trial in 24 ended without a verdict when jurors were unable to reach a unanimous decision. Subsequently, in 25, she was found not guilty in second-degree unaliving and manslaughter in the death of O'Keefe, though she was found guilty of the lesser charge of operating while under the influence and sentenced to 1 year probation. In the aftermath of the case, Rachel Rollins, former United States Attorney for Massachusetts, praised Carney for his advocacy on the social media platform TwitTwat, writing, "His relentless reporting in the face of repeatedly being told by law enforcement that he was wrong and there was nothing to see here cracked the case wide open." Carney, however, did pay a price for his unconventional reporting. The rough-edged and asabic firebrand was arrested and charged in 2023 with witness tampering, conspiracy, and picketing a witness as a result of the peaceful protest he participated in, which he believes falls under the umbrella of free speech. After being released on bail, he had it revoked amid allegations that he assaulted a former girlfriend. Carney was released in February 2024. Though in 25, a Massachusetts grand jury added 2 counts of intimidation against him related to an incident involving a trial witness. The tide turned yet again when a judge dismissed 6 counts against him, and he was found not guilty in violating a restraining order obtained by his one-time girlfriend. One intimidation charge against Carney was dropped this past October, though other cases against him in relation to the Reed trial remains active. Carney and compelling plan a two-pronged approach. Carney and compelling plan a two-pronged approach to telling his side of the story, as they are already in production on the docuseries that tracks Carney and the Turtle Boy following that has sprung up over the course of Reed's 2 trials. Oh, Crazy Amy is probably going to be in it then. Simultaneously, Compelling is in talks with filmmakers to fast-track a feature film that will take the tonal inspiration from unflinching Boston movies like Spotlight, Manchester by the Sea, and Mystic River. Never saw Manchester by the Sea. Jeff Cagliari, I Want to Dance with Somebody, and Dennis O'Sullivan, Bohemian Rhapsody, will produce the feature and documentary, with Steve Garcia serving as executive producer on both projects. Dennis Casali and Matthew Gallagher will also executive produce alongside Garcia, with Braden Joe and Mark Chopetta co-producing. On the impetus for taking on these projects, Kalahari told us, "This story hits close to home. My cousin Brian was John O'Keefe's friend and former partner in the Boston police force. Having followed the case since soon after the tragic incident took place, our aim is to shine a light until the entire truth is shown. Aiden's perspective on this American tragedy as a citizen and journalist allows a unique opportunity to see it from all angles. We are eager for the audience to follow that through line to wherever the still emerging facts lead." Carney himself said, "Journalism is not a crime. At least it wasn't until I began investigating and writing about the cover-up of John O'Keefe's murder and the subsequent framing of Karen Reed. For 15 months, the Commonwealth and the people responsible for John's murder got away with what they were doing because it wasn't getting much attention. That all changed after I started covering the story, which is why I have to be stopped. I look forward to providing new insights and details about my coverage of the case that has never been told before. Industry vets Kalahari and O'Sullivan formed compelling pictures in 2019 with the Whitney Houston biopic I Want to Dance with Somebody as their debut release. Currently, they are in post on the collaboration and adaptation of the 2023 Broadway play starring Paul Bettany as Andy Warhol and Jeremy Pope as Jean-Michel Basquiat. Basquiat? Basquiat? I don't know. They're also currently prepping the Emily Blunt-led romance Walk the Blue Fields to be directed by Brooklyn's John Crowley. Compelling is read by Jay Cohen and Evan Krause of Eisner Law. I like Emily Blunt. She's a great actress. So, suck it, crusty O panties. Manchester by the Sea is awesome, but plan to cry a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't cry a lot. I cry in um, the Forrest Gump movie. Yeah. Yes, if you are watching Howie's Howie Car Show today from 3 to 6, you will be having Tom Shattuck as your co-host today. So someone probably moved up and on to better and bigger projects. I wonder when it'll be coming out. Hopefully after his trial, because we know they're gonna go and try and get the raw footage. Who will play Turtle Boy? Mini-Me is dead. He's not that small. But then they can just use Shizzy if they need a short person like that. Mike is handling it not well. Yeah, well. You win some, you lose some. Hey, on the duck. What happened now? Got distracted by a Chernobyl video. Nothing, we were just reading an article about Turtle Boy's upcoming documentary, and we are waiting for whatever is going to happen in this case. We are on to the last witness from the state. Is J7 crying on Twit about it? Don't cry about it, J7. It's okay. Hey, BLT, you are the captain on the Titanic, not him. Oh, he hasn't done anything. It's he's just normally the guest host when Harry Carr is having a day off. But Mike is probably I'm thinking because he's doing so great that he's probably getting his own show. Little D, how are you doing down in Florida? I hope the weather is kind of okay and not too hot, and you don't have any you're not having any what they're called, the lizards falling out of the sky. Just coming in for a warmer up, or do I need to go back? No. Blood Spatter Lady just went off the stand, and no one know what she was talking about. Oh, great. Read the crust name in chat and braced for a poopy show. No, we're not going to talk more. She's probably losing her mind right now. Yes, the iguanas. The iguanas are dropping from the trees. But I hope Florida at least is a little warm, because everyone else seemed to be frozen solid. Cold-blooded. It's 45 in Naples. It's 30 here. La 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 la. Ba 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 bum bum ba da bum 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 ba da bum 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 bum. How cold is it where you are, Lynn? Again, it's nice. Well, I have to go out and drive tomorrow, so I hope it's not getting too cold tonight because this morning it took a long time to defrost. 63 outside of Orlando. That's not that bad. No, they tits out for Harambe. - 22 degrees in Worcester. -10 wind chill, -30, but it really is beautiful. There are massive amount of snow and the sun came out, so it's very deceiving. Yeah, remember your sunglasses when you're out in that weather. It snowed in Florida too. Oh, I didn't think it would snow down there. $29 here, and we are supposed to get 15 inches of snow this weekend. Let express to you the ways DC and the suburbs can absolutely not deal with snow. Yeah, that's the worst when they're not done it. Yeah, stay safe out there. Stay safe. Oh, I can't sing because Janelle is here. Oh, Baker sings so. I don't like it. It's 15 here, currently compared to the high of 1 yesterday. Well, at least you're furry. -25°C, but in the north it was -45. I don't understand why anyone lives up there. You have to have a fetish for reindeer or something if you want to live in Finland. Sing a Danish song, Baker. Well, I don't sing on demand. I only sing when I feel like it. So that's always the problem. There's a lot of water main breaks because of the temperature. Yeah, we had Krista lost her heat and she's up in Alaska where it got, was it 20 or 30 below? So that wasn't fun. Yeah, it's kind of like being in, is it Irkutsk, where it's -45 when I don't have, they use their refrigerators to keep food hot. Just come back and let us be done with this. You had your 15 minutes. Move on. Or was it half an hour? Did you say 45? I hope not. Have I seen Skip the isolation guy? No, I've seen Aiden talked about him. Someone said to shout him out or something. I haven't watched him. Whew. No, she said, yeah, I thought she said 15 minutes till 3:30, and she's always on time.
Oh, I saw that.
Oh, she's back.
All right, are we ready for the jury then?
Yes, ma'am.
Then I can blow my
Yes.
nose.
Hold on, Deputy Johnson. Either the microphone or, yeah, go. Well, you can, but there's no jury here.
I guess when you went off the bench,
Okay.
was it, I've heard that you were going to have their last witness?
Their last witness, and we'll see where we are at that point.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. If it's only going to take a half hour, I assume you have a motion,
Yeah.
so we would do that outside I can let the jury go home early, we could do your motion.
Okay.
And then start tomorrow with your case. Does that sound
sounds good.
okay?
That sounds good. I just
Good.
wanted to make sure, because because I think there were people here
Okay.
that I had ready in the event.
Yeah,
but
I
we're-
understand, but I think if it's
we
going
let
to,
them go.
if it's going to take till 4:15, I mean, I might
Yeah.
as well just excuse them.
Yeah,
at
no,
that
that's
point.
fine. I just want to be certain.
Okay, sure, no, I appreciate it. All right, thank you. All right, now.
Well, let's get to it because I have to get up tomorrow. Remember, if you're in Denmark and you want to meet up, we are in Odense tomorrow. We're meeting up around 10 o'clock in the morning. And it's going to be me, Mads, and Dave. So far, Dave's wife, maybe Dave's mother-in-law, they're probably going to put off and do something else. I don't know. And if you are in Denmark or want to drive 8 hours from Holland, you're more than welcome to swing by, and we're going to watch, I don't know, we're going to go look at the old places in Odense and probably find Hans Christian Andersen's house.
All right.
Yeah, you better be, because I'm meeting up with you.
Gary Benson.
Thank you, Jude Cudio, for 27 months of memberships, and time moves on. Time after time. And Jemima, always hitting up the square jaw. And I'm always losing my blue boys. No, Odense, not Onsware. Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state your full name and spell it for the court record?
Yes, it's Gary Benson. It's Garybenson.
Mr. Benson, are you the father of Christine Banfield?
Yes, I am.
Who was Christine Banfield married?
Are you fucking kidding me? We're putting a character witness as the last one to say she was a loving daughter. They have nothing better to end this with. He doesn't know anything about it. Is she there to say, well, she wasn't a freak, super freak?
Two.
Brendan,
Do you recall when they were married?
yes, they were married in June 12th of 2010.
Okay. Did they have a daughter?
Yes, her name is Valerie Ava.
All right. And when was Valerie born? Do you recall that day?
March 30th, 2018.
Thank you. Were you present for her birth?
Absolutely.
All right. Where did that occur?
No, they haven't asked to take anything out of order at any point. I think it's the heartstrings.
It happened at the hospital in New York, Good Samaritan Hospital.
All right. Remembering Christine's childhood, did you observe any medical symptoms that gave you concern?
Yes, several bruising, bloody noses.
Were they more than the average child's
Yes,
experience?
yeah, it was a concern to her pediatrician as well.
Judge, I'm sorry, I'm going to object about that.
Do they have police reports to prove that she was beaten up like this? Did you see Baker Aiden is asking for extension for the following Friday for court? I haven't seen that yet, no.
Medical testimony?
Objecting to medical testimony.
Your Honor, at this point in time, he hasn't testified to medical
Okay,
information.
I'll overrule the objection at this point. Yes.
Thank you. Tell me about the nosebleeds.
Oh, the motion will be the standard, on this time, the state hasn't proved anything, let my client go, and they will say, in the light most favorable to the state, there's sufficient for the jury to deliberate on it.
What did you observe?
They were frequent and very hard to stop. So the doctor was, why we brought it to the doctor to go over that reasoning.
All right. Did you have to do anything to help her with these nosebleeds and bruising?
Well, yeah, we would do normal, put ice packs on the back of her head, keep her elevated so that, until it stopped, which was prolonged. Took quite a long time for them to stop.
And after these experiences, did you seek help of a medical professional?
Yes, we took her back to the pediatrician who suggested that she be tested by a...
Without telling us
So it's the baby, it's not the mother. So he beat the baby? Is that where they're going?
what the pediatrician told you.
Oh, you just asked me what I did.
I
I'm sorry.
understand. So let me ask you
Okay.
that question. What did you do?
We took her to the doctor.
Okay. Did you take her to just one doctor?
No,
Okay. How many doctors did you take her to?
my recollection too.
All right. And after taking her to these doctors, did you form an understanding of why Christine bruised easily and her nosebleeds were difficult to stop?
Yes.
Okay.
Judge, I'm going to object. That's informed by the medical professor.
All right.
We should have here if we're going to.
Okay, I'll sustain the objection unless you have a different.
Yeah, Judge, if the
foundation.
objection is hearsay, there's an exception. If the objection is foundation, we can go farther into how he formed his understanding.
What's your exception to hearsay?
Sure, Judge.
If you want to approach.
Yeah, the father is the last witness.
Did she take any,
As a result of
Yeah, but that's just because the kid was in the house when he did it.
Christine's easy bruising and nosebleeds, did she need to take any precautions?
did she take any precautions? Well, as a parent, we took precautions to safeguard. When she rode a bike, she had to wear a
So this is when, okay, now I think I got it. This is from back when Christine was a kid. It wasn't Christine's kid. Okay, this is Christine when she was a kid. That she had nosebleeds. Okay.
helmet, knee pads, hand pads. Same thing with rollerblading. She was one that, when she was little, she liked to do all that stuff, but we restricted her from doing that because of all the injuries that she was getting like that. And so, that continued for quite some time, keeping a close eye on her.
Did you provide her with any medication to take?
She didn't take anything on a regular basis. There was no medication for it at the time to take on like a maintenance drug or anything like that.
I'm sorry, there was not a maintenance drug?
There was no maintenance drug for what was the cause of everything.
When she was little, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. Was there a treatment drug?
there was a treatment for the blood disorder, yes.
And did she receive that drug from you?
Not from me, only it was administered by a doctor.
Okay. To your knowledge, did she continue to have these issues as an adult?
Yes.
And what, if any, precautions did she have to take as an adult?
Well, she always had to be cautious and not take any contact sports, anything that would prolong any kind of injury, internal or excessive bleeding would cause a problem.
When she was pregnant and due to give birth to Valerie, were you present with her?
Yes.
When decisions were made
Judge,
about?
I'm sorry, I'm going to object as to the medical care aspect of this, because I think we're getting into medical care.
I don't know if we are or not. I'll overrule it at this point.
When she was preparing for her delivery,
Yes,
were there any precautions that she took for that event?
Yeah, she had to take medication.
And again, you were present during the delivery, is that correct?
I was in the hospital at the time, yes.
All right. Judge, I don't believe I have any other questions. Thank you.
The fuck was this?
One more.
Sure, yes, yes, sir.
Aiden's motion to push it is because Bradel and Betterow have had encountered last-minute scheduling difficulties that makes their appearance impossible. So nothing new there. Funny because I read that it was been changed from 2 o'clock till 9 a.m. Because he was getting arrested. Guess Grok was wrong again.
Good afternoon, Mr. Benson. Christine, as an adult.
Can you speak up a little bit more? I can't hear you.
Thank you. Christine, as an adult, would play kickball and volleyball, correct?
To my knowledge, she did play sports.
Okay.
Non-contact sports, yeah.
Did she take any precautions like wearing helmets or anything like that, like when she was younger? In those
When she
sports?
was younger, she did. I don't know what she did as an adult when she didn't live with us.
Okay, so you weren't certain of her as an adult, how long it had been since she
helmet
lived with
most
you?
days.
When she graduated college, she moved out on her own,
Okay, and so probably 15 years?
thereabouts.
Okay, and during that time, were you aware of her like competing in obstacle course type things called a mud run?
No, I'm not familiar with
Did you
it.
ever hear about it?
I'm not familiar with it, no.
Okay, it's kind of like a obstacle course where you're jumping over fences and.
Judge, counsel's testifying objection.
All right, I'll sustain the objection. Next
Okay.
question?
So you haven't heard about her doing any of those sorts of things, correct?
I'm not aware of it.
Okay. Here, one moment.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, no further questions, redirect?
Just one redirect. Mr. Benson, you were able to testify that precautions were taken at the time of Valerie's birth. Was Mr. Banfield present at Valerie's birth?
Yes, he was in the room with her.
How is that redirect?
Yeah, has nothing to do
How's
with.
that redirect? All right,
It's just on.
I'll sustain the objection.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions?
No, thank you.
All right, Mr. Benson.
No
you
one
can have
has
a
seen
seat.
anything.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. This prosecutor she reminds me more of the people we are fighting on the twit than a prosecutor. Was she in the room when she was born? Yeah, biatch, he was. That wasn't the land that you hoped it would be.
Mr. Benson. All right, next witness for the Commonwealth.
Judge, Commonwealth would rest at this time.
All right, the Commonwealth rests.
Well-
Without asking Ms. Chrysler if I can take that back for just a second.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, yes.
Sorry.
Commonwealth is rested. State has rested. Guilty, not guilty.
Judge, Commonwealth would rest.
All right, the Commonwealth rests. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a few housekeeping matters I have to take care of with the attorneys at this point.
So, this 4-week trial lasted 4 days from the state. How much defense is going to put up? We don't know, but it could be fast, could be slow. We don't know how many experts they're going to get in there. Did the dad name the bleeding disorder? No, just that she had problems coagulating her blood back in the day. Maybe she's not she's not a hemophiliac, but just has a low blood plate count. And this is just going to be the
Most theory was regarding that, but doesn't even make it that, that as a theory involved in the strike saw a fire. The fifth count was use of a firearm in the commission of a felony. In addition, there were two additional indictments relating to child abuse and child neglect that were then sought through direct indictment again in December. I'm moving to strike all of those charges. What we have up to this point in terms of evidence, Judge, we haven't heard a single word from a single detective that was involved in the homicide division. We haven't heard any sort of credible evidence relating to what was espoused as a theory of catfishing for years now and had been working toward that. In fact, you have the only person.
misconduct. You go back and you watch all 4 days right now so you can vote.
That has even suggested anything, and this is probably the third or fourth time that story has changed, is Juliana Peres Magalhães. She's now testifying to what appears to be intended to fit right into whatever the Commonwealth's theory was regarding that, but doesn't even make it that far. She can't answer any questions with any sort of detail. In fact, without the absolute direct and oftentimes leading questions related to the Commonwealth, she wasn't able to answer a single thing. She went through painstaking detail. The numerous messages that at one point she might have said something about, but now she doesn't remember. In fact, I'm not sure her testimony is worthy of consideration because she got to the point when I would ask questions, she would say, if you keep asking questions like that, I'm just going to tell you I don't know. And that happened numerous times, despite the fact that we patiently went through the evidence that we needed to go through in order to test and challenge her story. That story doesn't amount to, even in the light most favorable of the Commonwealth, something that's sufficient in order for these charges to go ahead. The charges themselves are an interesting, and I'll paraphrase essentially what needs to be shown, is that my client killed Joe Ryan after killing Christine Banfield. And the alternative, my client killed Christine Banfield after killing Joe Ryan. Then the next set of charges, which at least scream out that they're just a catch-all, is that my client killed Joe Ryan and within 3 years killed Christine Banfield. My client killed Christine Banfield and within 3 years killed Joe Ryan. We don't have any sense of what happened on that day, even in the light most favorable of the Commonwealth.
Well, I didn't know you had a birthday. Aiden isn't. I thought Aiden was at the end of January. I don't know.
There's no indication of who was killed and then who else was killed. There's no evidence to support that even in the light most favorable of the Commonwealth, under that statutory
I'll
or
be
that
celebrating you with
indictment
baby
scheme
finger.
that was presented by the Commonwealth's office. As to catfishing,
That's what I said.
there's no indication, and there's certainly no evidence that would be credible toward that. And the Commonwealth committed during my motion for bill of particulars in September that was the theory that they were going on. Obviously, that doesn't appear the case because there's just not sufficient evidence. So we move on then to the evidence of Ms. Graff and the testimony. She tried desperately to paint a picture. Crime scene reconstruction, though it may be available all around the world, is not available in Virginia. And one of the reasons why this testimony has probably not met where the Commonwealth needs it to meet is that there's no indication as to timing. And those 4 indictments are all about timing. And so this isn't something that, hey, if they get close with their evidence, this is about in the light most favorable of the Commonwealth, they have to have a prima facie evidence as to each individual indictment. And the way it currently sits now with no timing evidence, with no actual confirmational evidence, first regarding that whether or not Christine Banfield, which is the threshold that they have to have shown at this point, is that she somehow abandoned her devices and this scheme came into place, which we've heard about for a year from various motions and various pleadings. And so this is the time when you're in a situation where you have not heard from a single homicide detective, though there were at least 12 in place at the time. You haven't heard a single thing from any of the command staff about this investigation. You haven't heard anything from the people that were doing this investigation except for Detective Leach. And Detective Leach has a specific purpose in this, and this is to introduce the items of evidence that he took photos of and the items of evidence that he sent away to the lab. There's nothing in any of the lab analysis that's been said that would implicate my client. And in fact, in listening to all of the evidence, it appears the testimony, the identification of any blood, if it was even done, would show that Joe Ryan and Christine Banfield are the contributors. This, Judge, is not surprising given the horrific situation that was there, but it was a situation not of my client's making and was not something that he did. And so, Your Honor, I don't believe there's sufficient evidence, even in the light most favorable of the Commonwealth, and I believe that there's an obligation when you have someone who has changed their story so many times on the part of the prosecuting authority to take that into consideration. But let alone those issues, which will be taken up, I guess, at a later time, we have these indictments, and those indictments are the indictments that they chose to seek. They're the indictments that they had to work toward in order to be able to present the prima facie case, or in the light most favorable to the Commonwealth. Your Honor, I respectfully suggest that they've missed their target. There's not sufficient evidence, and I'd ask that you strike the five count indictment and even less evidence regarding what was indicted later on, which are the child-related charges. And thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes, ma'am?
If there is anything specifically the court would ask the Commonwealth to address. If not, I would simply point to the court that in the light most favorable to the Commonwealth, the evidence has been presented that Mr. Banfield shot and killed Joseph Ryan, that he stabbed his wife Christine, that all of that was done while his 4-year-old child was left in the basement.
No one is criticizing. We are just making fun, Relax. We are a fun bunch, and we are a little loopy today because it's been boring. So we are just making fun, misconduct. You don't have to go back and watch all 4 days. And you are allowed to kick Zach if you are near him.
Attended in a home where weapons were not only present but were in use, that the event in the light most favorable to the Commonwealth was in fact staged by the defendant in conjunction with the assistance of his nanny, and that at this point, I believe the evidence is sufficient to meet the standard before the court.
All right, thank you. Anything further, your motion, Mr. Carroll?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. In the factors of this case, just for the record, there's 2 different numbered indictments. The indictment 2024-666 are the indictments with the 4 counts of aggravated murder and a use of a firearm. As far as the 4 counts of aggravated murder, 2 of the counts are under Virginia Code 18.231, subsection 7, and 2 of the counts are under 18.231, subsection 8. As to the evidence in this case, in the light most favorable to the Commonwealth, I do find that there is evidence that can be considered by the jury for each of the elements of aggravated murder as they are outlined in the indictments count 1, count 2, count 3, and count 4 of 2024-666. That's based on the co-defendant's testimony, crime scene testimony, blood evidence testimony, and DNA evidence testimony at this time for those 4 counts. And as shown in Virginia, the Commonwealth can indict a defendant under subsection 7 and subsection 8 for the same murders when each of them constitute murders occurred as part of the same act or transaction, or in a 3-year period. So they don't have to choose at this point during the guilt or not guilty phase as to those 4 indictments. As to count 5, the firearm, there is evidence to go forward that the defendant did use a firearm in the commission of these acts. As far as indictments under 2024-873, count 1, child endangerment, and count 2, child abuse, in these matters in Virginia, it has been found that you can put children in situations that would constitute child endangerment and child abuse. In this case, we have evidence from the co-defendant's testimony that the child was brought into the house, brought into a crime scene. And the light most favorable to the Commonwealth would be that she was there during the occurrence of the events that had happened to her mother and to Joseph Ryan. And therefore, there is evidence for child endangerment and child abuse. And it's clear in the Virginia law that you can go under both the child endangerment and child abuse, and it's not double jeopardy because each statute requires proof of additional facts not found in the other. So that's 2 distinctive offenses. So based on that, and as far as the co-defendant's testimony, I cannot find as a matter of law that her testimony was incredible. The weight of the evidence is up to the fact finder, so I'll deny your motions at this time, okay? So we'll go forward tomorrow. Has anybody been discussing jury instructions with each other, or?
I don't think with each other, Judge, we have ours prepared. prepared, and we can certainly exchange.
All right, if we could exchange those at some point in the next 24 hours and maybe talk about them, and if we'll see where tomorrow goes. You have at least 3 witnesses, correct?
I have,
Could you just use the microphone? I'm sorry, I have trouble sometimes hearing you.
I'll have a couple witnesses available beyond 3, so maybe 4 or 5.
4 or 5
I
for
also
tomorrow.
have evidence to introduce, Judge.
Okay,
And so and this is good that we're talking about this, is I wanted to, at some point, when it's appropriate, to introduce the first 70 exhibits.
okay, and you have them in electronic
I've
format,
given it
just
to- I've given
one
it to
file
you.
each? Okay, perfect.
Um,
Okay,
And so, but I also will want, because they didn't see it as we were going through it, I want to be able to introduce them, have that, a reasonable period for which they can read their sheets,
well, if there's not objections, I assume.
Yeah,
I-
well, I guess as we go through objection,
We're
but that's
gonna
what
have to
my
go through
thought is,
objections.
which could take up some time.
So would you rather do that first before your first witness?
I'm thinking that.
Well, is there any objection first to him doing that before his first witness, going through all his evidence?
No. No.
And then we'll just go one at a time, and if you have objections, we can cover them at that point. Is that okay?
Yes.
I mean, if you can get with it, if you agree upon some that are not objectionable, that's fine.
Yeah, if council could provide them to us.
Yeah, could
that
you
would be helpful.
provide, I think I have, and let's just make sure for the record, for defense, I have, let's see, I have 1 through, oh gosh, 1 through 71, and that's all the letters and jail mail, 1 through 71. So if you can get those to the Commonwealth, and then I have 80, 80A, 80B, 80C, 80D, as in Delta, and then 81. That's what I have for the defense. So if you can get those to the Commonwealth tonight, so they can review them, and then they can tell me tomorrow morning which ones they have objections to as we go through them, that would make it faster. Anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, can we do that?
Yes.
All right, and you can, and so you'll go through tomorrow and possibly the next day as well, correct? With your
Yes.
evidence?
Yeah, I do believe so. And
Okay.
possibly into the next week.
And into next week, okay.
What?
I just want to make sure I get it straight, but
With
yeah, if we
full-
start working on jury instructions, though, I'd appreciate that. Yes, ma'am.
Just a question for Mr. Carroll, if he knows the time that we might receive those files.
As
Can
soon
you
as I
get,
go back.
Okay,
as soon as we go back.
thank you.
All right, any other questions?
Judge, the only, thinking through the exchange
Yes.
of jury instructions.
Okay,
Certain instructions will be relevant based on what Mr. Carroll
I
presents.
understand, and if you, I
And to
mean, we
this
might have
point-
to add to the stack at some point, but if you
Okay.
could maybe just get the bulk of the ones we know are going to be.
Yeah,
part
we
of
certainly have
case.
the charging instructions
Okay.
and all of the standard Commonwealth.
Are they going to be
instructions.
waterfall? I mean, it's.
Yeah, I believe so,
Okay,
Judge.
so, yeah, so you got to get all those so we can get
Yep.
that taken care of. And maybe start thinking about a verdict form too, because it's going to be rather lengthy.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, anything you have, Mr. Carroll? No. All right, we'll see you tomorrow morning.
So, the state case is over. The state has rested. The poll is up. Did they do sufficient to prove him guilty? And we're not going through all the minor charges. We're just going for the main one. Did they prove he unalived these people? That's the main one, because the child endangering is one of those wishy-washy things where, oh, you brought a kid into a crime scene. Well, you brought them into a house and then turned it into a crime scene. So what came first, sack or the donkey? I don't know, but it was a weird weekend in Tijuana. And so please proceed to touch the poll if you think that the state did prove it, or if you think the state didn't prove it. Why can't I say I don't know? It's because if you don't know, you must say not guilty, because the state has now given you all the evidence that they are going to give you. There won't, well, maybe there will be a rebuttal, but most likely there won't. So at this point, you should be guilty or not guilty. And if you are, well, I don't really know, then you're not guilty, because that's reasonable doubt. Defense has a longer case than the state. I don't think so. I don't think so that it's going to be that lengthy. He said he potentially had 4 witnesses, 5 maybe. And I can't see. Are they going to call someone in to talk about Christine's sexual habits? Is he going to bring in a lot of expertise? I can't see him. Even with 4 witnesses, he should be done Friday. I can't. That's half a day per witness. That's a lot of time, unless Brendan takes the stand, which I don't think is a good idea, because whenever you take the stand, you also take the cross-examination. So I would probably say that's not a good idea for him. I have very hot feet. Okay. We don't kink shame on this channel, but feet stuff. Yeah, of course I'm jinxing it, because I know I'm a weirdo. It's not slander if it's the truth. Yeah, someone brought up feet, and people are weird today. If we get 15 inches of snow on Saturday, they won't be back in on Monday. I don't jinx it that hard. Just the attorney alone is speaking is going to take a week. He's so slow. Yeah, and it seems like they're going to introduce 70 pages of what's the word I'm looking for? 70 pages of evidence. I have a meetup tomorrow with Dave and Mads in Odense. So I'm thinking, because it's going to be slow AF for them to put in 70 pages, probably yell at each other about something. So to minimize the wasted time, I'm thinking that I might wait and go live potentially at 12 o'clock your time, Eastern. And because they'll be on lunch break from 12 to 1, so we can catch up most of it during the lunchtime if we speed it up, and we'll be done by normal time anyway, because I just don't want to sit here and listen to them saying, well, I like exhibit 1A. We don't have a 1A. Well, it's the one with the picture of so I'm thinking tomorrow we're gonna do the later start, because today, I'm sorry to say it, but it dragged ass, and not in a fun way. They asked the jury if they are on FedLife. No, well, that would have been a question that they would have had to have done in jury selection, and I didn't watch jury selection. Will you be a little drunky for you? No, I won't be drinking tomorrow. It's a Wednesday, so I won't be drinking. And remember, tomorrow is my birthday. No, you're not allowed to say happy birthday before tomorrow. So tomorrow I will open whatever packages I have. So far, I have 1 package. If God be willing and the weather holds, I might even have 3 packages tomorrow from J7. So it could be a birthday spectacular, or I can be yelling and screaming because they turned it around like they did with Marissa's package and sent it back to the United States of America. It says in my app now that the 3 packages that I don't have to pay import customs on is being delivered tomorrow, but it said the same on Marissa's. So fingers crossed, everything crossed. So let's see that tomorrow. And yes, please tickle the YouTube and the like, and over on Rumble you can tickle the. No one touches the like over on Rumble. You're so mean. It's just gathering dust, that little like button. State has rested guilty 84%, not guilty 16%. I'm kind of turning into like Law and Crime. We always have around 15% on this channel who says not guilty. And I like it. I like that we're not all in agreement about what it is. I hope your hands are filled with packages tomorrow. Well, big packages. Wow. Baker, are you a little tired now? Yeah. Are you saying stupid sexual things? Yeah. So probably should get to bed if you have to go and meet up with people tomorrow. Probably a good idea. So I'm not sure there's going to be a night show tonight because I have to drive from here tomorrow at 9. And right now it's 10 o'clock, and before I get to bed, it's 11. Let's look at it. Nothing is set up. It's going to be something. Oh my. Oh my. What's he's looking at, side Jesty? Who's looking at what? Did anyone know there's a new Brennan interview on CTV? Not sure if I have the stomach to watch. I don't know. Yes, I'm going to open my package in the morning. Well, on my stream tomorrow. And again, I think we're going to start at 12 tomorrow because no one wants here to sit and father time trying to put in evidence. Did anyone make your cake? No, I'm going to make my family cake. I have to ask if any. I've told my family, are you coming? And no one has replied. So far it's me, Baby Baker, my daughter, and the idiot who lives with my daughter, which is fine. Baby Baker is coming down here already Saturday and staying until Sunday. So that's going to be nice having little Baby Baker putting around in the house. But that'll also, I don't know, I have to do a birthday stream at some point. But let's do that. Let's do the noon tomorrow because nothing will probably happen. Oh, sorry for spreading misinformation. CTV just releasing Hank's old statement like it's new. Yeah, well, that's not interesting. Make sure to fill Twit that Baker and I am dating and he's marrying J7. I'm not marrying anyone because I've been married once and I said in church that was the one time. So I can't get married again. I'm not very religious, but I believe that that's a promise I won't go back on. Wait, you bitch. Don't you call me bitch. No, I actually asked my family this time and said, are you coming? I had to set up for Saturday, and then my brother said, well, we are in the Alps with my sister on the annual ski vacation, so could we change it to Sunday? And I said, I'll ask the rest. No one said anything, so I said, let's do it Sunday. And then my daughter called and said, we're coming down because the idiot has to do something. So she said, we're just going to take a train down and come hang out with you so you can hang out with Baby Baker because I don't see him enough. And then I wrote them the other day, hey, who's coming? And haven't had any replies. So maybe it's just going to be me and Baby Baker. And yeah, well, his parents can puddle off wherever they want. I want to hang with Baby Baker. He's a cool kid. And that's what I'm going to do in my weekend. Yeah, he's beginning to run around. Show us how you make your cake. Well, I don't know what kind of cake I'm gonna make, and I'm not gonna stream making a cake if I'm probably gonna do it Saturday when I find out what kind of cake they want. So Baby Baker will be in the house, and I'm not putting him on the screen because I'm not one of those people who would put my kids on a screen. They have nothing to do with anything I do, and with the very, very toxic environment that's going around right now on the interwebs, I for sure won't put Baby Baker in anything. What's my favorite? I don't have a favorite cake. I just have depends on what situation the cake is for. Because there's a lot of different cakes that you need to fix. So yeah, the funny thing is, Baby Baker has actually been on screen multiple times, but now I have removed his picture from the house. My daughter's is actually on the screen right now, but you don't see them. So yeah. Have fun with Baby Baker. Your back will be like new in no time. The worst part is I have to sleep on my air mattress in this room, and well, this time I'm gonna put a top cover on it so it's not as rough to be in. I bet he's a cute little guy with blonde hair and blue eyes and chubby cheeks. He is a little Viking, yes. So yeah, I'm not gonna make a coconut cake. I'm not the biggest. We have these called like coconut tops that we will make like a coffee cake. That's I don't like coconut. It gets a little overwhelming. So yeah. Bup, 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 bup. So hey, isolation year. You're the guy that everyone has asked me if I've seen. No, I haven't. I was actually trying to redirect to your channel this morning. No, yesterday. But you haven't set your channel up so everyone can redirect to you. Because I heard someone mention you on Aiden's channel, so I went looking for you, and your channel isn't open for redirect. So if you want, sometimes when we're doing streams and you need, well, you don't need it, but if you want someone to dump their audience into you, go in studio and make sure that it's open, because it's a cool way that we can help another channel get some new viewers. Are you well? Please tell me why you want a child. Who wants a child? Who wants a child? I'll have to look into that. I don't know what that means. There is an option in studio. I can't remember where it is in studio. Where you can open up. Because I can see your channel, so it should be open for redirects. Well, you need 1,000 subscribers. So no, I need 1,000. That's right. It's somewhere in the studio. Where do I have to find it? Is it? I think it's. It's in settings. You go into settings and then you click community. No. Where the hell is it? Where the hell is it? Where the hell is it? Nope, nope. Sorry, I'm doing this and I can't remember where you do it. Yeah, it's if you go into community and then you go into where you put up your moderators, it's the second tab. If you go into community in your studio, you have your settings. Then you go into the community tab, and the second tab in community is where you can set up your mods. There's a in the bottom. There's one that's called "Every channel can direct to my channel" or something like that. So if you do that, then everyone will be able to connect to your channel. Thank you so much. I hope you find it because it's a really good way to grow your channel. Because if someone is just sitting out there and thinking, "What the hell is this?" and they will dump people into you, and they can help you grow your channel. It's a really cool way to for us as well to give our audience a new place to do the send people around. So it's just there's a lot of very friendly people out there. If you want, and they will try and help you as much as possible. So that's oh, you do Lego. You should be on a Lego stream. But yeah, it's kind of a cool thing to be able to help people out there, even though you might not know them. But people have been saying nice things about you, so that's a cool thing that people already know your name and want to promote you. But I have to get to bed because I have to get up and go celebrate my birthday tomorrow. You all need to go out there, go check out Skip's channel. Nope. We're not allowed to say happy birthday in Denmark before it's your birthday because it'll be bad luck. So we're weird. I know it. But tomorrow we'll start later. We will start at noon. And then if you want to go and watch the isolation year, you can go and watch Skip on this one. I don't know if he already set up his redirect. Maybe if he did, I can go in and try and redirect to his stream. It could be cool. Imagine if I was his first. Ladies, remember, if you want to apply to be my first, we have a PDF questionnaire that you have to fill out, and Marissa will then find the correct partner. No, I can't do it. No. Dodo is over there. Dodo. But it doesn't seem that he has set it up so far that I can turn it over to him. Please hit the link for this stream. Go over there and give him some donuts in chat. And come back tomorrow at noon, where we're going to hang out and watch the rest of this trial. Thank you all so much for joining today.
I'm Jimmy. How y'all doing?
I know English is your second language, but you don't word
It's
your
my
questions
third,
carefully.
but I'm still better at it than you. You are
The most important people in this case that everybody seems to have forgotten in this room is the jury. So we're going to take a 15-minute break and both sides take a pregnant pause and think